Rise from your grave.
Hello Quakers and welcome to another episode of the Quake Grave. We are continuing and finishing our playthrough of Quake. That's right, today we're tackling episode 4, and with that, the final boss encounter. So keep in mind, if you haven't already, go ahead and watch episodes 1, 2, and 3. They're the 3 previous episodes before this one. Well, I guess we're ready now. Let's jump into episode 4. And here we are. Can you believe it? Here are the first 3 rune plates there. Can you believe it? Finally, episode 4. We played through the first 3. Now we're going to play through the last. I really liked how this area here for episode 4 was a little bit different than the other 3. The other 3 were, they were just kind of like corridor, and they matched whatever the episode was going to have within it. Lava for episode 3. Look at this. Slipgate for 4. What was it? Just a blue room for episode 2? I like how it matched the looks, and this one does kind of the same thing. And of course, episode 4 starts things off with a base map. So we can safely say that every episode starts with a base map. Now, I feel like this first map of episode 4, it's, we'll say like the difficulty doesn't really match the rest of this episode. When I was playing through this one, it felt, when I say this one, I mean this whole episode. When I was playing through this episode, it more and more felt like a custom Quake map that was built by, a different author. Someone who didn't work at id. Something you would download on quidicted.com. Definitely felt like something custom built, which is interesting. If you play through, and I believe I touched on this in some of the other episodes I recorded for this, but when you play through episode 1, it is just streamlined and perfect, and like you could tell like there was a lot of love and care put into that beginning episode, because they knew that it was going to be the episode that most people played, I think. However, when you get further into the game, episode 3 and 4, you start to see all of these weird things introduced into the maps, things that were not previously in the game, which is interesting because I remember playing through some custom maps on this video series and wondering what the hell was going on with some of the design decisions. So, obviously, some of those design decisions were very strange, and still to this day remain to be pretty strange. But you could definitely see like where they got their inspiration from, because some of the stuff that takes place in episode 4 here is really weird. We'll kind of talk about it as we come to it. But that was my initial reaction when I was playing through this one. I gotta say, out of the 4, I think... I guess I should say this. I mean, the first episode is always going to be my favorite because I think it is the best episode. It's just well made all around the board. Out of the 3 new ones I played, being 2, 3, and 4, having never touched them before, I think that somewhere in there, 2 and 3 really did it for me. I think 3 does some really cool things, has a great look. I think episode 2 was a lot of fun too. At times, I feel like episode 2 is like even slightly easier than episode 3. Episode 3, I felt like I was able to kind of nail through, and just, man, it was just a good time. Really, I guess if I had to pick right off the top of my head, the more I'm talking about it, I think episode 3 really stood out to me more. So I guess in order for me, it would be, favorite, from favorite to least favorite, it would be, episode 1 to episode 3 to episode 2, and then finally this episode. So what is it about this episode that, I wasn't quite too fond of? As I said, we're gonna come on to some of these things that I wasn't a big fan of as we keep playing the map. But I guess this is just might be a personal thing, because I think a lot of Quake players really, really like this. But I am not a big fan of gigantic maps, especially when said gigantic maps have a lot of places where it seems like you can get lost. I feel like there were a couple of maps where I was just lost and not completely sure where to go. I don't feel like I really lose my way too much, but it's quite obvious that this video for the series is longer than the other three by a decent margin. And, you know, I think that is because of just the way it was designed to have longer and bigger levels. Now, of course, that also plays into the level being more difficult, which is Episode 4 is obviously the most difficult episode of the 4. So you could definitely see why the episodes are longer and bigger and more maze-like. This level, however, I thought was really good. I know that there is a coalition of Quake fans out there who just do not enjoy base maps. Me, on the other hand, I really don't care. I like base maps. I think the belief behind that, and this, again, might be something we've talked about in previous episodes, but, you know, people don't like the base maps because they're like, hey, this doesn't really fit, you know, like the guys who shoot and the dogs and all that. This doesn't really fit with the whole medieval theme of the rest of the game. And now that I played through the whole game, I can totally see what they're saying, because base maps in the official game are very few and far between. There aren't many of them. But compared, you know, especially compared to the medieval theme, it's like, wait a minute, like what is this base stuff doing here? So I could see why people, you know, aren't a fan of it. However, I do like them. I think they're cool. I mean, if you are a Quake Marine, or a Marine in Quake, however you want to put it, and you know, you're sort of trying to find your way around these weird medieval-themed levels, it makes sense that you would first stop into a base level, a base that other Marines may have been in, and that's kind of what bridges the gap between these slip gates to take you to all these other worlds, you know? To me, it makes sense. I don't know. I guess other people just are not into it. Totally fine by me. So we drop in here in this second level. This armor up here kind of becomes the bane of my existence because I keep trying to figure out how to get to it, and I can't. There I can kind of tell that there's something going on, and as you approach the double-barreled shotgun, it actually tells you what you need to do, which we'll be doing in a second here once we kill these stupid knights here. You shoot that, it unveils the dagger. And now you can get at some ammo and a double-barrel shotgun, which is always useful. More knights. So we go immediately from a base map into what could be what could be like a super medieval map. No guys with guns at all, just knights. And this might be something I miss, but I noticed that there's no mixing going on. Whether you know your map is either a base map or it's a medieval map, and that's it. You would have thought that some of these medieval themed maps would have had, by the way, first Vor of the episode there. They are pretty rampant in this episode. But you would have thought that there would have been a combination level, something that sort of like, you know, oh, our worlds are being torn apart, and you know, it's combining the base with the bases with whatever medieval sorcery is going on here. So you think there'd be a mix of like grunts and enforcers with ogres and stuff, you know, that some sort of a bridge level, but there isn't, and that might be why the whole base thing is frowned upon when compared to these other levels here. I'm trying to dissect it here the best I can. Maybe this topic doesn't deserve so much discussion, but you know what? Why not? We're here. Let's get into it. Trying to take out this Vor across the way here. And I get hit squat in the face. This episode did nothing to help me not to hate the Vors. I absolutely hate those things. Oh, in this area. Whoa, man. That one actually caught me. You jump into that water, and it has absolutely no water physics to it whatsoever. You're expecting to be able to swim around in it, and I was going to swim over to grab the armor and whatnot, and you can't. You just fall right through. It's a trap, is what I'm saying. Grab a little bit of health there, because this Shambler was kicking my ass, man. So here I'm going to scrounge around, grab some more health. The other thing I've thought of now that we're playing through these episodes, and now that I'm kind of rewatching it back here to give some commentary, how come there were never any dead Quake Marines around in these levels? You know, you couldn't have thought that you were the only Marine going in to, take out all these monsters and bring peace back, you know? You had to have thought that there was others that tried and perished along the way. And there you go, there's within an id level, a teleporter that drops you into an area that makes you lose life, from a high up place. I feel like that is bad design. Always have. I don't mind if you walk into a teleporter and it's a trap, but I hate that. I feel like it is super dumb when you teleport and it just drops you from somewhere and it's like, oh, okay, I just lost a bunch of health for nothing. Alright, that's cool. So we grab the pent, and instead of doing what I should do, which is just trying to find enemies, I sort of waste it here. But I do get better at using the power-ups here. Grab the quad with the pent. And if I ever play this map again, I will know that I can grab both at the same time. But who knows when that will be. But watching ogres jib up like that is always a good time. So you could tell in this part right here, this is some strange design. This is some like guy making a custom map design back in 1996. You know what I'm saying? Those weird pathways and whatnot. And this map continues that feel too. Like once we hit this dagger, we go to grab the key, but we can't. It takes us to this area. We're able to grab ourselves some health. Grab the armor. Boom. Not too shabby. And we make the jump across over here. But once we get further on into this level, there is an area that I try to jump and scale and die a few times at, and it just super irritates me because I do not like it. I'm not one of those guys who hates platforming in first-person shooters. Right here I have a hard time figuring out what I'm supposed to do as I take damage. But in a game like Quake, where you are moving so fast, Quake and Doom, it's like there's just no place for platforming in these games. I've played a few custom maps where they try to add platforms in there for jumping over to, and it's never a problem if the platform is huge, but there are some custom maps out there where they put in this threadbare, tiny little platform that you're supposed to jump over to, and it's just like, what is this? This isn't challenging, it's just infuriating. While you're watching me play here, you'll see that I really take advantage of the quick saves in this playthrough. So right here, we drop right down. There's already a Vor there to come after us. Try to do my best to circle this guy. And then we get some monster infighting going on, so I can let them do their thing while I take out this knight. Wait a minute. Vor didn't kill you at all. And of course the stupid Vor is still alive too. Damn you, monster infighting! Supposed to be helping me out more than that. So because I dropped to that area where the Vor was, I think right now I'm looking for shills and health. But because I dropped where the Vor was, you actually have to go all the way around again and attempt it again. So this part I absolutely hate. I can jump over to here. And then I'm like, oh, maybe I can speed across. Nope. Nothing doing. Not gonna happen. So unfortunately now I have to go all the way around again. And every single time you get to that platform area, that stupid booby trap nail takes a shot at you. Which just ends up irritating me even more. Because even when I'm careful, I feel like I get hit by it. Okay, this time, I totally missed the jump. So right now, while I'm playing this, I'm already getting irritated with the game because there's really no reason why I shouldn't be making that jump. And I hate when... Oh, and there we go. My first death. But we're right back into it. And lucky that I did the quick save there. We gotta kill the Vor and the Death Knight again, but things will be okay. Now I know what to expect. We can go after him. But, you know, when you get irritated with this type of stuff right here, you know, you make dumb mistakes like I just did. Like, I totally forgot to wait for that booby trap piece to go down first. And right now, I'm no nonsense. Now I will just help you guys kill each other. There we go. Works for me. But yeah, I hate when games throw in dumb little parts like that, like, in my opinion, they're not challenging for challenging, you know, for being challenging's sake. It's more like, let's put in this really irritating part. And when you're the game developer, when you're making the level, it's not really any big deal to you. And look at that, I do it first try this time. So it wasn't a huge deal. Once you master it, not a huge problem. And believe it or not, that is the end of that level. But as the game developer, you get to choose how hard you make your level. And while you're testing it, you know, you get to keep testing it over and over and over again. So it never really comes off as hard to you, you know, because you're ultimately tweaking it to work in your favor. And then the parts that you don't tweak, you just get used to. Becomes this weird, you know, tug-of-war thing. Let's grab this quad and let's take him out. There we go. Stores opened elsewhere. What did I miss? So another instance of a perfectly good quad pretty much going to waste. But in these levels you come to find out that there are quads all over the place. I don't remember which level it is off the top of my head that I played through in this episode, but there's one level where there are just quads everywhere. And I'm not complaining. And I guess if you ended up playing that level several times, you're going to get to the point where you are just awesome at it. And you're going to memorize where all the quads are. And you're going to be like, boom, when this one's about to run out, I can grab this one. And then when this one's about to run out, I go get this one. You know, you can make the plan of attack. As a newcomer, though, oh man, it is strange and sort of intimidating. But what I find interesting is I feel like this episode, though it has those aspects of, by the way, shooting a fiend in the dark. Well, it has those aspects in the level of like, oh, when I revisit this level, I'm going to be able to memorize all this stuff and do it better next time. But I find episode 4 to be, at least for me, the most unreplayable episode. Like, it's an episode I wouldn't want to come back to. I really like this part. You got this graveyard with the zombies. You grab the weapons and zombies start like slowly rising and appearing. So this part I think was really well done. This is awesome. And personally, I think this is also one of the better levels in the episode. Trying to not get the splash damage here. So out of the levels I would replay, I think this would be one of them, because I think this one is well done, well made. Has this really cool graveyard part. Seems to have some sort of flow to it, as opposed to some of the other maps that kind of just feel like a big jumbled maze. But the episode itself feels that way. It feels like a big maze with like, oh, I turned the corner the wrong way, there's another Vor that I'm going to have trouble taking out. You know, it's just that way. Got the quad last just because, you know, you don't really need a quad for zombies. You just want to... And look at that. Lame. That is lame. I like this level, but that... that is lame touch. But yeah, I'm not a fan... There's another quad right there. This might even be the level I was talking about, where there's quads around every corner. First run into the spawn there, as I call it, the putty. I think this part was pretty interesting too. You hit that button and you supposedly find a secret area. That has, hey, look, another quad. Who would have thought? So yeah, like I was saying about the replayability stuff, I feel like the other 3 episodes have some merit to them. They give you a reason to want to come back because they're fun, you know. And I played through episode 1 a bajillion times. It just flows so well and has a lot of good things going for it. And you know, this is obviously my opinion. I'm sure some people out there watching this are going to be like, "You're crazy. Episode 4 is the best one. It offers the most challenge. It offers, you know, a lot of things that the other episodes don't offer, like interesting and strange gameplay design choices. You know, these might be things that you're looking at and thinking, wow, that is the way you need to do a game, which is totally cool. It's fine. But for me, I kind of like the idea of when you're playing a game and, you know, gameplay... Yeah, I walked right by this spawn at first, and I saw him in the way back in. Good thing I had that Ring of Shadows. This part was interesting too. Did not realize that was going to move on me, but it did. We get off a couple lucky shots on the Fiend here. But I'm a big fan of a game when it introduces design decisions and it introduces gameplay features. These are things you're going to be using throughout the game, and Quake does do that. But episode 4 introduces stuff that only gets used like one time. It's really strange. Like there's a part coming up in one of the future levels where there's an altar that you have to shoot in order to progress. So you have to actually take out these guys. Come out of here, come out from nowhere, and then these guys start popping out of the windows. But yeah, just for an example, there's an altar that you have to shoot. It has a certain amount of health. I guess you have to tick down, and when you tick it down, then you can progress, which is interesting in and of itself. But it's only used in one level in the whole game. That is really weird. I mean, how many levels are there altogether? Even if you're not including the secret levels, what? There's close to, let's see, there's 20-something levels. We'll just leave it at that. With the secrets, the secret levels, it probably comes close to about 30 levels, 30 official levels. So when you got this, you know, cool design idea where you're like, hey, I got it, we're going to make this block that you have to shoot a bunch of times while enemies are attacking you. and that'll help you progress or whatever. Here we go, I got the key. We're gonna finish this level right up. Of course, once we kill these ogres, of course. Not sure why I was so keen on killing this ogre, but because I could just finish right now. But we take him out. And I got into the habit of doing quick saves. There's a fiend running around in the background looking for me. I got into the habit of doing quick saves right before the exits, just because I had no idea if they're going to try to trick me there. But I know my point about this altar thing is going on for a while. But my point is just, if you were going to have something like that, why not introduce it, like once into every episode, so that way, you get to episode 4 and you're like, oh, this is like the map back in episode 3 or episode 2 that does the one thing, That way you kind of know what's going on. I always assumed that games were meant to be sort of a cohesive thing. And Quake, I guess, it's hard to pick apart design theory on it, just because when you start the game, you have the option of starting it in any way that you want. You could actually start episode 4 first, if you so desire, which I think is a perk to the game. I think that is cool that you can do that. However, I guess that would be strange if you started with episode 4 the first time you ever played Quake, and you see how hard these levels are, and then you circle yourself all the way back around to 1. Like, say, for example, you started with episode 4 and went, 3, 2, 1. You'd end up getting to 1 going like, oh my god, what happened? Like, this isn't up to the same par difficulty of episode 4. Which is a really weird way to play the game. Which in that instance you might think, like, maybe that's a weird design decision too, because, I don't know, I believe Doom you could pick what episode you wanted to start with, but it gave you a very specific, like, hey, episode from top to bottom, just obviously ascending down, you're going to know that, like, this goes in some sort of an order. I think Duke Nukem kind of did the same thing with its episodes. Again, start where you want, but it's pretty obvious that when you start further down, things are just going to be a little bit more difficult and different. But yeah, the idea of, like, playing this episode and then playing 1 maybe right after it, or a couple episodes after it, it's just weird to me, because of how streamlined 1 is compared to this. 1 is like, it's like the perfect cadence of fast action, shooting, buttons working, traps, all that kind of stuff. I guess the one thing I can say, though, is that even though 4 isn't my favorite, I do like... I don't think there are really any maps in Quake that I absolutely hated. If they do exist, they're definitely in this episode, because... actually, I'll take that back. There is a map coming up that I did not like whatsoever. This map I was okay with. I'm not a big fan of how big it is, because of how lost I felt like I got at one point. There is a point where I was trying to figure out where it was I was supposed to go, and it just wasn't dawning on me. There are a ton of fiends in this level as well. But yeah, as lost as I get, and as many fiends as there are, even though I do not like the fiends, I do not really dislike or hate this level. Definitely not one of my favorites, though. I especially thought this area was weird. And you'll see what I'm talking about in a second here once we get over there. Tons of fish. Gotta hate those fish. This eventually gets extended out and we can get over to it, but we can't right now. But yeah, if you look over at these areas, just one lonely fiend hanging out in there waiting to take us out. Scrag's abundance. Or in abundance, I should say. But yeah, look at this. There's just like a random platform just like hanging out up there. It's almost like whatever they were doing here, they weren't sure how to connect these areas. And so they're just like, yeah, just have a platform leading up and then dumping you back down into this area. It's really weird. This area, too, that we get to... Again, not sure why I felt the need to kill this fiend. Should have conserved the ammo, but oh well. But once we get to that other area where the platform extends to, where we can get the key, that's a really weird room, too. There's like a teleporter above your head that you can't really get to. I don't know. It's very strange. So yeah, this is at the point where I'm already kind of like, alright, where am I supposed to go? I've already seen a few different areas, but not completely sure which way I want to head. Here we go. We found the way. You know, I apologize, everybody. I don't want it to sound like I'm dogging on Quake or Episode 4 here. I really did actually enjoy playing through the whole game. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. But it's just unfortunate, you know, when you get to later levels of a game, and they just pale in comparison to what is introduced in the beginning. Again, my opinion. People might grossly disagree with me, which is totally fine. Please do. Tell me in the comments I suck and I'm wrong. I'm okay with that. I played kind of like this peekaboo hide and seek. Maybe we'll call it peek-a-boomstick. This dumb fiend's running around here and I'm just trying to take him out. There's him. And I think another one comes out here in a second. There he is. So this one just likes to hang out under the bridge here, so we spend what seems like forever just trying to take him out. RC Quake rule number 1. Never go down there in the monster's face if you don't have to. Hide like a coward. Grab some ammo. Give ourselves a quick save here and run into yet another scrag. And yet another fiend. And a Death Knight. This room is like the room of like never-ending enemies. That is to say, like, they sort of keep coming, but like they take turns. So the fiend will kind of show up, and then later the Death Knight shows up. He's like, "Oh, hey, am I missing the party?" I'm actually surprised these guys didn't trigger in some way. Figured they would have been here first. So I guess at this point, after I've blabbed for a good half hour now about how Episode 4 was a little disappointing to me, perhaps, you know, you guys in the comments, you could let me know how you feel. What is your favorite episode in Quake? Are you a big supporter of the first episode? Do you think that's how Quake, like the rest of Quake, should have been? Are you more into the really long, difficult maps that are in Episode 4? Let me know. Some more nails. Always need them. So here I'm still spending my time trying to figure out where it is I need to go. This map definitely has me lost right here, right now. It kind of gave me flashbacks to when I used to play Doom, and Obviously, Doom and Quake created by the same development team. Totally fine. Not the complete same development team. Obviously, some faces have changed and got added and left and whatever that is. The story of Quake's development being a nasty cycle is well documented. However, this map I could definitely relate and feel like it had a little bit of a Doom feel to it, because there were those Doom maps that you would play, and I feel like you'd be stuck in just that one map for like a half hour trying to find the red key to whatever door. You're like, okay, here's the red door. Says there's a red key card somewhere, and you are just searching forever for this red key card. I remember I had my attempts at Doom trying to play the game without God mode, and I run into those situations like that where I had no idea where it was. So I'd throw God mode on with no clip and try to find out where this key card is or whatever it is I'm trying to find, whether it's just a door to find the exit or what. And I feel like even back then, I was just a kid, but back then I couldn't find where I needed to go, which I think is kind of hilarious when I look back on it. I don't know if it would still be that way. I don't think I'd want to attempt playing through Doom like I did with Quake. I feel like Quake, though Doom is a lot of fun too, I feel like Quake is almost like a little bit more competent of a game, because its rules are a little bit more defined as far as like physics and that kind of stuff, if that makes sense. Like I said, not dogging on these games, definitely not taking anything away from Doom, because I do like Doom. But Doom for me was always a game that I was like, hey, I am going to absolutely put God mode on and just blast through this game. I did not have any fun trying to play that game without God mode on. Putting God mode on, grabbing a chain gun or the plasma gun, and just ripping into enemies was always a lot of fun. Where I feel like, see, watch this fiend. Look, here's this area with that weird teleporter, and the fiend jumped up into the teleporter. So I grabbed this thinking like, okay, I'll jump in too, and I can't reach it. I was like, okay, that's fine, whatever. Hindsight's 2020. Obviously, I could have grenade jumped myself into it, but whatever, right? But as I was saying, Doom was never a game for me that I wanted to play without codes. The game was always a lot more fun that way. You put in God mode, you put in all weapons mode, you jump to whatever map it is that, whatever random map in whatever episode that you want to check out and see if you could finish it just with the codes on. And it was fun. But I remember maybe getting through episode 1 without using codes, but some of the other episodes, the levels are so menacing and evil to the player that they just frustrated me as a kid, and there was absolutely no way I was gonna pay any mind to beating that game without codes. Here we go, and we finally find the exit. I quick save because who knows what's behind the door, but there we go. Whew. See, as you can tell, 1247. That's how much time I spent on that level, and that was easily, I think, the longest amount of time I spent in any of these levels. But I could be wrong. I don't remember my times for the rest of these levels. This level, though being a little bit strange, I actually like this one too. There, I can hear the spawn. The spawns always just like burp at you before they fly at you. It's interesting, the bodily noises that all the monsters seem to have here. I cannot get a good shot on these guys. This guy's kind of glitching out over here, caught on the geometry or whatever. So we take him out, no problem. Works for me. Anything to keep those things jumping from me is fine by me. Oh. Take that, fiendy. Need the silver key, obviously. So we're going to head back and try to find that. I did not see that guy before, but whatevs, right? We got him now. Ring of Shadows and quad. This Vor cannot see me at all, so I'm going to do some close-ranged double-barrel shotgunning. Took that thing out. See, I do like this level. It's a bit strange. It's a bit weird the way it's set up. But I'm okay with that. I'm into it. I played enough custom Quake levels to know like when maps are a little bit off and a little bit strange. And this one, it's still competent, and it's still fun, you know. I think the maps after this, though, I am not super into. Now, with Episode 3 and Episode 4, both episodes had secret maps within them. Both episodes, I did not get to these secret maps. I don't even remember which maps they're supposed to be, the secret exits are supposed to be in. Here we go. Oh, God, I hate those things. Jumping around in Quake from the enemies is so annoying. I cannot stand the way the Fiend does it. I can't stand the way the spawns do it. Ugh. The spawns are so random and annoying, and there is a level coming up here. I think that is the level I absolutely hate. Where the last level was just kind of maze-like and annoying. Oh, the level coming up I just do not like. They threw spawns everywhere. Everywhere. Here's an interesting little secret room here. By interesting, this room is very weird. End up turning the corner here, grabbing this mega health, and when you come out... Oh, by the way, there's a Vor here. But it's just like, by the way, there's one of the most powerful enemies in the game, just hanging out right here. This booby trap with the quad I thought was strange too. You have to run in there and get it really quick before it starts to close again. Love that. Love the fact that when you get the quad, you can actually use different weapons on the zombies. Have always loved that. You get close enough with that double... You can't do it with the normal nail gun, but you get close enough with the super nail gun or the double barrel shotgun. You could definitely wreck them. That's for sure. It might be the first bit of lava that's actually in Episode 4 right there. Down we go into this weird dungeon thing. Okay, I have got to kill these things. I gotta stop you. There we go. Gotta change weapon. Gotta kill these stupid spawns because right now I'm invulnerable and I got quad. So I gotta take these things out as quick as I can. But it's going away now. They can now hurt me. Still got the quad, though, and that counts for something. So I'm curious to know what other first-person shooters you guys are big fans of. Obviously, you like Quake, because you're watching me play this, and, you know, I'm sure that you like Doom, maybe even Duke Nukem. But I'm curious as to what other first-person shooters, you know, are important to you, or games that you find yourself going back to every now and then. I can talk about one that is drastically different than Quake, that is always a go-to for me, and that is the Portal series. I really, really like Portal, even more so than Half-Life. I know, I know people are going to hear that and just like, what do you really? But I enjoy the Half-Life series, don't get me wrong. I think Half-Life 2 is a lot of fun. Half-Life 1 is another game like Quake 1 that I actually never ended up playing through, even though I owned it. Played it online a bit, but not as much as Quake, and I found it okay. Didn't quite care for Team Fortress Classic on Half-Life 1. It felt very stilted and jaunty compared to Team Fortress and Quake. Team Fortress for Quake just felt like fast and go, 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 and capture the flag and exciting. Team Fortress Classic felt very stunted, I guess is a good word for it. I'm not really sure. But regardless, yeah, I did like the Half-Life series, 2 at least. Who knows if 3 will ever make it, right? The whole thing with that, we all know. But Portal, really, really like Portal. The first game was so interesting because it was so different compared to a lot of other first-person games that were out at the time. The you know, Xbox 360 era of gaming, I feel like had a lot of good stuff going for it. You know, it had Portal, which was great, and it had the Mirror's Edge game that came out, which was all parkour, first-person viewpoint and all that. Just, it had a lot of unique stuff for first-person shooters. Some would argue that's when, I'm not the biggest Halo fan, but some would argue that's when Halo was perfected online with Halo 3. I guess others would argue too, because I know I had friends who were really, really big Halo fans, and they always argued, which games played better, 2 or 3. This trap right here was, really got me. But as I said, I played Halo Online like a little bit. The feeling of that game never got to me. There we go. The Fiend got the better of me right there. But Halo was never a go-to series for me. It always felt too sterile. I like my shooters to have a little bit of attitude to them. And as I've talked about in previous episodes, Master Chief is just a ripoff of the Doom Marine anyway. Am I right, peeps? But guys, back to Portal, though. Portal was doing something different than a lot of first-person games were doing. It was a first-person puzzle game. How cool is that? And it's funny because I remember playing this game on the GameCube called... I think it was called Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy. It was one of my all-time favorite games on the GameCube. And it's one of those games that is considered... Do people even remember it or talk about it? It was one of my favorite games. I remember seeing it come out, and I was hearing that it was somewhat like a Zelda game. But at the time, I was short on money, so I was kind of waiting for it to go on sale. I think I got it at like $20 at GameStop way back when. And I got it on GameCube. I kind of had this mass exodus of GameCube games and PS2 games when I was trying to clear out a lot of things and have some extra money. There we go, take that thing out. I really needed extra money at the time, so I sold a lot of my collection, but that was one of the games, next to Wind Waker, that I absolutely knew that I had to hold on to. Look at that, it just throws that on there so we can get across. And I thought that texture did something weird. I thought it was another secret, but alas, that is the end of that game. Or the end of that level, rather. So yeah, Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy, great little game. And I remember when I was playing it, I had this idea... Oh, there's my cat Sushi, deciding he's got to get his voice in on the video here. But when I played that game, the thing that came to mind was, I absolutely love these mummy sections. I love the parts with Sphinx, too, where he's fighting. But the mummy sections were my favorite part, because you are basically just trying to solve puzzles and get to certain areas. Oh, I hate this room. Hate this room. Look how many spawns they put in here. And this is just on normal mode. Forget that, man. Forget that. But during the mummy sequences, you're just trying to solve puzzles, and if you don't solve the puzzle, or if you die or whatever, it just checkpoints you back to that area where, you thought you were, or the last area that it checkpointed at, and you just try the puzzle again. And you didn't have to worry about, enemies and time. I don't think there were many time limits. There might have been time limits for, hitting certain devices and stuff like that, but overall, it was just kind of like a leisurely, you figure out these puzzle areas and get through it type of thing. And I love that. I was like, I would love more games like this that, are just hey, you figure out what you got to do here, take your time, and do your thing. And since then, since I felt like more games like that had to exist, I'm heading back in here to actually find a little bit more health. But since I had that thought, games like that started coming out. And Portal was one of the big ones that brought that thought, that memory back to life for me, and when I was like, oh my god, this is exactly what I was wanting. Something that, challenged you, but immediately, had checkpoints, and, basically you weren't under any pressure to do things because you had to, kill a certain thing, or you're forced to do whatever. It was just you're just lounging around trying to figure out these puzzles. And again, the devices had their time limits. If you shot an energy ball across the room, you had a certain amount of time where you had to get over to the point to accept the energy ball and make it do what it had to do. Stupid fiend. So with that said, yeah, I'm really glad that game design has come this far to the point where, like, as much as I enjoy playing games like Quake... Hello, Sushi. Deciding to get in on the video again. I'm really glad that games have come this way where not everything has to be about shooting everything, you know? Like, you could just, you know, go into your level and get your portal gun. Right here, I trigger a spawn up in that room that I wasn't so sure what was up there. But we'll see what that is in a minute here. I actually die quite a few times in this level, so I'll be reloading pretty quick here. But again, yeah, I was just very happy that game design has come so far, and nowadays you can get games of all different types to play, and I really like that. I'm actually, as much as people may be surprised to hear it, considering I do like a Quake series, I'm very into games, like indie games that are maybe like 3 or 4 hours long, and they're just those games where you kind of walk around and try to figure things out. Like Gone Home, for instance. I actually really like that game. And, you know, I feel like a lot of gamers are more people who like stick to a certain genre. If you are a first-person shooter fan, you are going to try to stick to first-person shooters, and that's pretty much what you're going to play. You know, Call of Duty crowd or people who are fans of Quake are going to kind of stick to that type of game. Where for me, I think the majority of my interest in Quake is nostalgic. Right here, we get the stupid spot. Boom. There's a death. Could have done without that one, I'll tell you that. Instead of going down this time, though, I decided to check out this area. This is the first area I was talking about earlier that has that altar that you actually have to take down its health. Oh, by the way, Vor. It's another oh by the way with the Vor there. But we take him out. But yeah, that's how I feel like with a lot of gamers, though. A lot of gamers kind of stick to a particular genre. You know, sports fans, you know. If you're a Madden guy, you're just like, I just get the new Madden and the new basketball game. That's all I play, you know. Maybe I got a Call of Duty game just because everyone's got at least one of those. There we go. Shoot it repeatedly. Oh, and then they drop 2 Vors in. Thanks a lot. Oh, shit. And then there's some more spawns for you, of course. So yeah, this is definitely one of the episodes, or rather one of the levels in the episode that I am just not a fan of. I do not like this level. I think it's long. I think a good word for it is arduous. Can we say that? Even saying that, though, I think it does capture the feeling of old Quake. That's for sure. But as I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted by those Vors. By the way, I was walking on Vor's head right there. Then I just spam grenades here to take them out. Even wasting a couple, but have 80-something grenades, I think I'll be okay. And there's the key, in a very strange spot, I gotta say. So yeah, I do see a lot of gamers who have an interest in playing just about everything, but I feel like they're very few and far between people. I feel like a lot of people would load up a game like Gone Home and just go, I'm not shooting anything, what the hell is going on? Which is totally fine, you know, whatever your prerogative is. So right there, I feel like I made a mistake instantly there because I was so used to quick saving that I quick saved there with 20 health. So that becomes a little bit of an issue when I'm trying to go into these next parts here. Get back up to 70 right here. As we try to take out these Death Knights. But hey, I could be wrong about people too. I mean, perception is reality for most people, and I could be wrong about this. Oh, there's an easy death right there. The Death Knights totally got me. So yeah, in the comments, let me know like if you have favorite games that aren't first-person shooters or aren't like big action games such as Quake. You know, let me know. Oh, jeez, this did not go well, did it? Death. You know, let me know what you enjoy playing besides Quake. Okay, up here I'm gonna sneak this guy. And we got him. So we can get into this room, grab a few things. There we go. Throw in the quick save, continue on. I was talking about Portal, though, about how it's great to take your time with it. Mirror's Edge was another really fun game. They actually have a sequel coming out for that this year, if you haven't heard already. But I really liked Mirror's Edge, and it was for a different reason. Mirror's Edge actually was very much about being timed. I mean, you did have those parts of the game that were just about you taking your time trying to figure out what it is you want, or what it is you had to do to get up to a certain area. But there were those other areas where, like, you had to get from point A to point B as fast as you can before, like, a bunch of dudes shoot you. And I felt like those areas were just as fun as any of the puzzle areas. Oftentimes I feel like developers who, you know, quite obviously make an area that is a puzzle level and then an area that's an action level, there's always one side that's a little bit better than the other one. Like, you know, if you were to play a game like Gears of War, for example, decent series of games, however, it's obvious that the action in that game is what gets all the attention. Any areas that might be considered, like, puzzly, like, oh, what do I have to do here? You know, are there even puzzle things in Gears of War? I'd be surprised to know. Right here I'm trying to figure out how I can get up to that red armor, but I kind of give up on it and grab the quad and jump over to the key area anyway. But yeah, I don't remember. I could have swore there were, like, little areas of Gears of War that were like, hey, you gotta kind of plate juggle, you know, you gotta do this while you do that type of thing. Which I guess could be considered a puzzle thing, but it's all dressed in an action suit. So here I do this to get down to the fiend and take him out, and then, oh, more spawns. Even more spawns. Not a fan of this. I mean, Quake is a good example in itself. You look at an action first-person shooter that somewhat has puzzle stuff to it. There really isn't much going on, is there? I mean, it is basically like, hey, these puzzles are, you know, you have to hit 5 buttons inside a room while booby trap nails are shooting at you. Can you do it? And, you know, that's not really a puzzle. Let's be fair. One recent game that came out that I am dying to play, though, that I haven't had the chance to, is The Witness. And The Witness is a game just like what I'm describing, which is, hey, take your time with these puzzles. I mean, you can take all the time you want to try to figure this stuff out, and as you solve puzzles, you unlock parts of the island to find more puzzles, which I'm totally cool with. And I can't wait to try that game out when I actually get some free time. Let's see here. Grab the armor, pick up these things, hit the switch. We're finally making progress in this level. I have not attained a rocket launcher yet. There could have been one in, one of the several secrets that I missed throughout this playthrough. But at the moment, I only have the grenade launcher. And unfortunately, these stupid Death Knights just show right back up where they were originally. This guy, I'm able to take out with ease, though. He doesn't even get close to me. The stupid Vor cannot get to me, but there's the rocket launcher. Boom, we finally get it. And now the Vor will get what's coming to it. And I have an area to dodge, which is nice. I have an cover that I can duck behind to get away from the Vor. Very helpful in those situations. You can see throughout this level, because of how much I'm dying, I'm just quick-saving like crazy. Every little piece of progress, I'm like, quick save, quick save. So I'm jumping over to this area. And I thought this area was strange, because I go down here, I grab the ammo and whatnot, and I kind of swim back up, because I'm like, oh, was that just a secret? What was that? I go back down thinking, man, there's got to be something more to this. Ah, it's where we have to head to. And I cannot open anything yet. And I grab the Mega Health, which is good. But at this point, I just run for it. I'm like, I see the exit, I go for it. Forget that. I don't want to deal with any more spawns. I do not like that level. That is the one that you can quote me on saying I am not a fan of. This one, they drop a Shambler right in your face immediately. Good luck on this fight if you didn't have any ammo ready. It's pretty annoying. We're actually getting pretty close to the end here. This is the last level of Episode 4. And then pretty soon, we're going to be able to face off against Shub. The final boss. This I thought was pretty strange. I don't know if this is engine related. I'm playing with Quake Spasm, for those of you wondering. But the zombies are kind of like stuck up here. But we can get rid of them easily. Putty just hides in the dark blue because he's the exact same color. So that's all well and good, right? Who doesn't like to run into a spawn? Or a putty, as I like to call them. Who doesn't like to run into one of those in the dark as they burp on you? Burp. I got plenty of health that I can grab in this area here. There's the spawn. But I'm about to start choking here because I did not go up for air. There we go. Doing okay, moving right along in these blue halls with the weird ripped skin face doors. And there you can see the key. But how we get to that key, such is a mystery. So how about boss fights in first-person shooters? I always felt like first-person shooters were never about boss fights. Quake technically only has two. When you play through Episode 1, you got the lava dude at the end of that, and then this one you got Shub at the very end of the game, you know. But Episodes 1 through 4 don't really have a boss encounter. Which, you know, is fine with me. I don't really need bosses at the end of my levels to enjoy. But it is a bit weird that they would really, tightly craft a couple of boss encounters in the game and not have one available in each episode. I thought that was pretty weird. Okay, this area, I'm so glad that I had the Ring of Shadows, and it's the only part of the game where I felt like it was super useful. Because as you can see, I'm running through here, grabbing health, and I am just scrambling to find my way out of this area, because I don't want anything to do with any of these spawns or fiends or anything if I don't have to. And luckily, right at the end of my Ring of Shadows, I run into a Death Knight, and I have a couple of enemies to deal with here, but it's nothing compared to what I would have had to deal with had I come out of Ring of Shadows before that. I would have had a million fiends and spawns to deal with, and I didn't want any part of that. But here I still got the quad, so I can take these guys out quick. Got plenty of rockets, so I can just waste them. Those were just for good measure, of course. We hit this. The secret lurks in wherever it said it was supposed to be. I don't know that I ever find it, though. So right now I'm trying to figure out how to get to the other side here. I do a couple jumps, you know, don't seem to make it. I'm trying to figure out what is going on. What do I have to hit to get that to extend? And then it dawns on me here. You shoot that and then it extends. Again, another weird mechanic that's introduced in only this episode, but at least this episode uses that quite a bit. So yeah, we were talking about boss fights. You know, I guess at the end of episode 2 in Quake, you could consider the couple boars at the end a boss fight, but I don't really, because then they're just used throughout the rest of the game, just constantly. There's our Shambler friend, but luckily we got invulnerability, so we're going to be fine. We're going to be fine, just fine. I'm going to grab that quad and totally explode the Vor. But the gate's not opening yet. And why is that? We got zombies, we got fish, and I figure out, oh, for some reason there is a ceiling window on the floor of the water? Why would that be? Nope, choking. I'm drowning. Not sure. So yeah, because of the way Doom and Quake were, though, I've never thought of them as, like, boss-centric games. You know, at the end of most Mario games, or most Mario worlds, you know, there's always the Koopa that you gotta try to take out. We got an underwater Vor ball coming after me here. But you don't really find that in a lot of first-person shooters. I suppose if you're playing, you know, Halo or something like that, but the reason this comes to mind is that during the GameCube era, they had the Metroid Prime series, and those games had excellent bosses, because Metroid was known for its bosses, has been for a very long time. I came back here because I'm looking for health here. But what's really interesting is that Metroid Prime found a really good way to take the boss encounters in a first-person view and make them work. I know there were a lot of people who played through Prime, or at least tried it and said it wasn't for them. I am not going to survive this encounter, by the way. This is not going to work out for me. Ugh. This is another level I'm not a big fan of. I don't hate it, mind you. I do not hate it, like I did the last level. But I'm not a big fan of this one. But yeah, Nintendo, when they were partnered with Retro Studios, Retro found a way to take Metroid boss encounters, put them into the first-person world in Metroid Prime, and make them work. And I found that game to be a lot of fun. I was actually recently playing through a little bit of one when they re-released the trilogy, the Metroid Prime trilogy on the Wii U. I think it was only $10 on sale last year at some point, so I bought a copy of it. And I was playing through a bit of the first game, and it really took me back. Whenever that game came out, I don't remember the exact time it came out, but when I received a copy of it, it was wintertime. It was like, you know, I'm just about to finish my college semester for the holidays, or at least have time off from college for the holidays. So I had like a good chunk of time that I could just play a little bit of it. And man, the music in that game, as soon as it starts, it just takes me back. Such a great little game. It's unfortunate that a lot of people were kind of downing it at the time, but you know, I feel like a lot of people were downing the games on the GameCube, which really irritates me because I love that system. Here is the last rune, the fourth and final rune of Quake. I quick save because I have no idea what's coming up, but there's the end, and boom, there we are. So that is the end of episode 4. And here we are. It's letting us know that, hey, you finished episode 4. Well done. I kind of got tired of reading these because they end up typing out so slowly. But yeah, I know I went on and on about it when we started this video, but man, I am just not a big fan of this episode. I don't think this is an episode I will ever come back to. But hey, I can say I did it, right? And we got the boss fight with Shub coming up right now, which is really exciting because I've never even seen this boss in person. I've seen images. I've unfortunately read about already how to kill him. Through the years, I've known the joke about how to kill him. So I'm going to already know how to do that. So there's not going to be much excitement when I go to take out Shub. But hey, look at this silly little vor we got here dancing in the background. How fun. It's really dancing away back there. So because the variable found that, episode 1 through 4 are finished, the variable clicked in and said, oh, by the way, here's some more end text for you letting you know that Shub's Pit is available. So, again, just to remind everybody, I know I've said it a few times in the other episodes, but this is my first time playing through all of these episodes except for episode 1, and this is my first time going up against Shub. So this is kind of a big moment for me. When I was doing this, I was pretty excited because this is a game that I have been playing, or at least did play a lot. At this point, man, it's 20 years ago now. This year, isn't it? So 20 years ago, I was playing this game a lot. So for me to return to it this many years later and to finally finish the game, it's a big moment for me. So here you start out, they totally take out the middle area there, and you go down into this area here to find Shub. Shub awaits you. And you drop in, and the level starts. So I had no idea what to expect here. And look at that. They try. I like how they try to get you by giving you the lightning gun immediately, as if you're going to shoot that underwater. We all know what happens when you shoot that underwater, don't we? But you start out with some simple fish. And I take a quick look at how many enemies there are. I didn't see it right there while I was rewatching it, but I think it was in the 20s. And I was like, that doesn't seem like a lot of enemies compared to like what was in episode 4. So I'm like, oh man, this has got to be some kind of horde thing because they are loading you up with stuff right here. And I'm like, you got to walk through lava to teleport? Okay. So there's that big dumb spiky thing that I had no idea what it was. There was there was a video like a while back that I did where someone did a custom. There's a shambler right in the middle immediately that I got to try to take out. But there was a custom map that I played through that had that spiky thing floating around. And I was kind of laughing because I'm like, what the hell is that thing? Is this some kind of weird custom thing that the creator made for his map? And somebody left a note saying, like, hey, obviously you haven't finished Quake if you don't know what that is. And at the time, like, I was kind of like, yeah, I haven't finished Quake. And I was kind of saving it for something special, like episode 100. And here we are doing it. So now I know what that thing is for. It is, just so everybody knows. Well, here, in case you haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil it. But that thing is going to fly around Shub, and it has a very important purpose for defeating Shub. So this whole level is nothing but a quick curved corridor with a few booby traps and an absolute ton of shamblers and vores out to get you. That's all the level is. It's just like, basically, like, here is a ton of stuff, kill everything, and then kill Shub. And they just keep coming around the corner, coming at you. So I just keep staying behind here and taking pot shots at them, because why not? It's how I play the rest of Quake. I'm not going to change now. Oh, perfect bellyache sound. Little quick save for me there. So there's Shub. I finally get a good eyeful of it right there, and an eyeful of a booby trap right there. That had no idea was coming after me. But luckily they litter the ground with health. And at this point, I keep getting hit by booby traps, and I need to get away from them. Oh shit. So that guy's shooting at me. At this point I just run up and I'm like, I have just got to kill. I need to get over here and just kill stuff as quick as I can. Take out this Shambler as quick as I can. And he's done. So we go up here, grab some health. Oh, rockets! Don't want to kill myself yet. Don't want to kill myself at all. Never mind the yet. Bellyache sound. So according to the level total, it doesn't look like I'm anywhere close to finishing this level, or at least close, but not quite close enough. There's the spike thing going through Shub, and then there's a teleporter. So, for those of you who do not know, I'm sure everybody watching this already knows, once that spike thing goes through Shub, you have to hit the teleporter at the same time, and you telefrag the bitch. Here I'm just taking a few shots at Shub just because I can, and here we go. Doesn't happen immediately, but you can see the teleport animation right there, and then boom! Quake guy is hanging out right there. This I thought was was weird right here. It's telling you, hey, congratulations, you finished the game. Thank you for finishing the game. And then id Software says they're proud of you. But all the while, I'm the Quake guy here trying to like be cool with my axe, you know, in a sweet pose. And this Vor is just totally hogging up my limelight. But as the Vor keeps like walking around me, I found this really funny. He just keels over and dies. Any moment now. So there you go, everybody. That is the end of Quake. I played through and finished it from beginning to end, and man, does it feel good to finally have that game under my belt. Wow, it's there we go. The Vor just went down. Great. But yeah, it feels really good to have that game finished. I'm pretty proud that I was able to finally get through it. So everybody, thank you for joining me on this wild adventure. And I, of course, will see you next time on the Quake Grave.